from videos like building a moped that resembles a 70s toy from some old air tanks of a truck. However, you might not recognize where I am. But what if I told you? Should have a pipe, and I was like, I'm going to tell you something. There we go. But what if I told you that I am actually at home in my own garage? Well, essentially, the place where I have been filming for the last who knows how many years, I don't know, 10, maybe even 10-ish years. That was actually at my mom's house. However, now I have bought a house. Instead of paying rent for years, you could just save that money aside when you're going to work, and then eventually you have enough money for a mortgage. And now I have a mortgage and my own place. I bought a house with a decent garage. And when I say decent, I've already filled it by just bringing a few items over here. You might not recognize this bike, unless this was in the video where I showed the Beetle. My original plan was to bring the Beetle here first and start working on that. However, I didn't have a car with the pulling capacity of a trailer that I could put the Beetle on, as it doesn't run. It hasn't run in, I don't know, 35 years even. And also this bike here, it might not actually be properly in the shot, so I might as well just grab the camera. Because I was actually planning on, instead of spending Christmas, I don't know, with the hat on, eating a lot of food and drunk essentially, you know, I'd be seeing if this old bike would run. Now it's possible that I have never shown this on my channel. However, it is a Honda CB 400 Super 4, Japanese import, and it was imported about 20 years ago. And that was also probably when it last ran. So I was thinking maybe on Christmas Day I would be actually tinkering with this instead, because I really don't care for Christmas, as I've been stressing a lot about moving. I just realised here while I was sitting down, okay, here's a few other things that are in the garage. It's starting to look a lot like my garage, as it is already full of stuff. I just realised that there is a light on inside, so it might not start from here. It is an LED and it looks like it's on very dim. However, it is in a very tricky spot. I mean, I have brought over pretty much all of the projects I have, so I really can't easily get into the car to just turn the lights off. And obviously here where would be room, the door is locked and the window is actually, could I just get my hand? No. Could I just, no. I can't get in there. What is the plan? Drop my phone out of the pocket apparently. I'm planning on taking these shelves down and putting them onto that wall, so I will have work surfaces on that wall and shelves of items on that wall. And then here would be a corner where I would have the couch made out of the car or the pickup truck I learned to drive in, the brown Isuzu, or sort of maroon, wine red, how would you call it? But sunset orange, it's brown! Oh dear. And also, all these vehicles don't have to be in here, because there is also storage space in this building. Yes, this building is not just a garage. There is a small, hang on, let's see, sort of over there, there is a small storage with shelves, and there is the boiler room, and behind me is a slightly bigger storage room, which is cold. But my plan is to just sort of have a little clean up and just don't really have a solid plan, but I do have a lot of stuff already brought over, but I do also have a lot of stuff to bring over, as previous garage was pretty full and pretty packed. And also what was in front of the garage, I'll have to clean up all that. I already have 3 of my cars here. My good old 1990 Daihatsu Shura G102 and 2 cars I've just bought recently as just, you know, shit boxes. Why 2? Well, the first one was a Peugeot 206 and it's I suppose it beats walking. But then, not many weeks ago, I saw a Daihatsu YRV for sale. And you know, I've only seen one of those in Finland. And the last time I saw it was the same car I have bought. That was a customer at the previous place I work. But let's not go there. I have bought another customer's car. And when I said another, I don't know, I probably have not even posted any content of the Jeep Grand Cherokee I got as part of a payment of some debt, but let's not go there. I'll just see. I'll find that out. I'll look into that and I'll tell you more about it later. However, what is going on right here, right now? You might recognize this from, or as, Pikachu. It might run. Should I try? I don't know. I might not have fuel for it right now. But yeah, this has been content on this channel. And there's the Pickle Bike project. And this is the JDM motorcycle, a barn find, as you can see. We can still have some dust from the years we can wipe off, so it is a barn find. So not all of it was wiped off during transport. And behind me is another barn find, and you know, genuine barn dust. And also, because why not, a third from the same barn where my Beetle currently still is, a snowblower, because, you know, it was there and apparently never really worked properly. And I'm just thinking of maybe I can make it running, and maybe one day we might still have a proper winter in Finland, so it might come in handy one day. And here is the Peugeot you saw in the video where, from Midsummer, where we were fooling around in a field. And here's my pit bike that you have probably seen in the same video. And also my go-kart. And the quad bike that I bought just so that I can fit this little G-Wagon over it. And then there's also the Rio. And one more thing that is being placed in here is my Honda NSR. You might recognize this from the video of doing a burnout in a garage. And then obviously the Daihatsu. And before I end the video, I will mention that I was checking if I still have room on the camera before I started filming this, and apparently I have filmed a video where I've been rebuilding the engine on the Daihatsu, so that will be, I reckon, the last video from the old garage. However, I do still have to film a proper intro and a proper outro, because, you know, the last one of those videos, I don't know if it was one of those my camera corrupted what I had filmed, or if it was just I was so stressed out that I didn't even film any of the last parts. But that is a story for that time, and I'll be doing that one day before I carry the couch into here. And I'm thinking, while we're here, and I was explaining something about the storage rooms, just so that I just rather not have this garage full of projects to the point that I have no room to work on them. Okay, let's just do a quick tour here. Here is the previously mentioned YRV. Here is the previously mentioned 206. It has a tow hook, that's why I haven't sold it yet, and just driven that one because that's a lot better to drive. And also it didn't pass the MOT inspection, so I'll have to be working on it for some time. Do I even not have the fucking keys? Shit, I'll just go and grab the keys. So in here, I have boxes and some small items I've already brought over, like the fighters of tyres for the go-kart. And then there's also stuff that has been left behind from the previous house owners. Like, yeah, definitely need this, and hook, lamp cover, some old lamps and stuff, an empty box for a vacuum cleaner that they also left behind, but the vacuum cleaner is more useful than the box. And there is a new bonnet for my Beetle. Well, I wouldn't say new, but it's fiberglass and it has a little spoiler. You might have seen it previously, but you might have not. I don't know. Most of the boxed items are mine. Not these two. These are just some old Tupperware. I might use them for nuts and bolts, but I don't know. Here is the slightly bigger storage room. And I suppose, I mean, I have not brought anything of mine in here yet. It's just full of junk as far as I can see. But you know, if I were to, there's a lot of doors. A lot of old doors, an old oil heater, an old sauna stove. I mean, I could sell the copper because, you know, copper's valuable and shit like that. Some old... I've heard it. I'd rather not. I'd rather just burn. This is just some old couch seats in a box of a television. I'd rather kept the television though. Some old furniture. Some old cardboard boxes. And then there's also a trapdoor here, you know, which used to which used to be opened with this, but the rope failed last time. Last time I've lived here for a fucking week already. The previous time I was here before moving in. Yeah, I actually pulled it. It worked. It lifted that one up. I have no idea what is up there. And my uncle was actually just having a look what's in there. And then it just snapped and fell on his head. Yeah. So the reason why I've just brought everything into the garage is, well, this is not a dry, sort of warm, heated space. So I just decided that everything that has been on a trailer and had some moisture from the trip, I'd rather just have them dry in here. Just keep it as dry as possible, because as you can see, the cardboard boxes aren't rotten. Huh. And then I just take a random rotten one. Oh dear. Well, I mean, they're not soggy. So it is pretty dry in here. But it's just, if I just bring a lot of moist vehicles in here, it won't be dry for long, eh? Even though, here we have the boiler room. But I suppose that's not very interesting. Someone might be interested in boiler rooms and stuff, but my interest is that it works. And it hasn't actually been working properly recently, so as long as it keeps the... Oh, for fuck's sake. This is a very, very brilliant lock. Check out the quality of this lock. It's locked now, but it's not in... I could say you missed the hole or something, chuck a joke like wrong hole or something, but I don't trust it like that, yeah. So what can I say? I really do hope that I can find a new beginning and sort of new motivation, new inspiration on building my projects and even filming and editing them here. The downside is it's not a big land. I don't have a field where I just can fool around with my pit bike, so I do have to get to know the people around here, so that if someone has a field or a pit, a sand pit, where I can take vehicles for a test drive. But you know, I've only lived here for a week now, and stay tuned on what's next, and I hope what's next is seeing if this old thing will run. Thanks for watching. Bye. Find the yeah, let's not lean onto that.